What's up, everyone? Peti Kish Hun here, and we're here with another topic with Final Fantasy VII. So I'm on Geeks and Gamers, and they got this article here, and it says Final Fantasy VII director tells fans to skip the original and start with the remake. Square tells new generation to forget game that made them famous.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Ouch. That is a horrible take, I think, to do that. No, don't skip on the original. Do not do that. Play the original, and then you can appreciate the remake. The remake is a completely different entity from what the original is. It's not even a remake. Technically, it's a reimagining. And the original, you can just get it right now for what, like $7-8 on Steam or wherever you want to get it. It's very cheap and you get the full experience. It's not, split into 3 parts filled with a bunch of filler, bunch of multiverse BS where characters live, characters die. It's just confusing and convoluted, the remakes. This is the same problem that we're having with the gaming industry recently. I just talked about in my last video with GOG trying to preserve history with the classic Resident Evil games. So Capcom said, why would they want that? The remakes are the more superior versions of the game, which is not true at all, actually. They didn't see the value of it porting the classic Resident Evil games to GOG. But besides that, they did a good job what they had that Capcom gave them. But Capcom's the same way. They don't care about their history when they pull a lot of nostalgia and a bunch of things from the original blueprint of the game. If you didn't have the original, you wouldn't have this game franchise be popular. So the same with Square now with this. This is the Final Fantasy VII Remake director. Let's get that straight. He's saying pretty much the same thing that Capcom's saying. You really don't need to play the original where it came from. You just gotta play the remake because it's a better experience overall. I understand he is the remake director, so he is trying to promote his $70 game. It's a better experience because he has to. It's probably a PR stunt in general, but you need to remember that the originals are a classic, a part of history, especially Final Fantasy VII. It's almost 30 years old. It's a game people will remember from generations and generations to come. There are things in Remake that I really dislike, especially the story elements for the game. I do not like at all. People say, oh, the combat's good. Yeah, the combat's all right. I'm okay with the combat. It's more action-oriented, obviously, than the turn-based, which I don't mind. If it was a turn-based game, the Remake, I wouldn't hate it at all. I would have been fine with it, too. Either way, I'm okay with the action or the turn-based kind of style. I'm okay with those. The problem is with the story itself. It's not a one-to-one remake. It's a reimagining. That's what my problem is with this whole thing. It became like a fanfic, Kingdom Hearts BS, multiverses, Destiny, Fate, everything going in between. And yeah, the cinematics are nice and all. It looks beautiful, but it's missing what it originally had special with the original Final Fantasy VII. Before we go to the topic ahead, guys, if you like what I do here, if you enjoy what you see, please hit that like, sub, follow, share on this channel itself. I appreciate it very much. Let's push it through the algorithm for more content on here like this. The director of the 3rd installment of Final Fantasy VII Remake wants new players to skip the original. If you grew up in the PlayStation era, Final Fantasy VII wasn't just another RPG. It was the RPG, the one that defined the genre, made Cloud Strife an icon, and catapulted Squaresoft into gaming legend. But apparently, if you're a new player in 2025, Square Enix doesn't think you need to bother with all that. According to Final Fantasy VII Remake Trilogy director Naoki Hamaguchi, you should skip the original entirely and start with the remake instead. If you have the opportunity, I'd like you to play the remake first and enjoy it as a fresh experience on its own, he said. In what amounts to gaming sacrilegious to generations of players. That's right. Forget the game that changed everything. Just play the modern retelling designed for short attention spans and cinematic cutscenes. It is a good-looking game, no question about it. It looks nice. I enjoy what I see, the landscape. This is what I imagined when I saw during the PS1 era when I played Final Fantasy VII when I was a kid, how these lands would have looked like, how all the designs of everything would look like, as well as when later down the line when I watched Advent Children, the movie, then it pretty much showed them how they would look like in a 3D animated environment. But the thing is, it's the story. It's a retelling of the story with some beats here and there, especially with the first remake. The beginning part is awesome. It really has that momentum like the original has, but then something happens in between during that time, and the story a little bit shifts to something else that wasn't in the original, and that's where people get confused. I thought this was a remake, but apparently it's not a remake, The original fans know this. The original one, you need to play that one to appreciate where it came from, and then this one, if you want to have like another experience, an altered experience of Final Fantasy. The remake is designed to be enjoyed by people who have played the original and know it well, and also by complete newcomers who know nothing about it, Hamaguchi said. In other words, you get a similar experience whether you've played the 1997 classic or not. That might sound like a diplomatic answer, but it effectively makes the original version irrelevant, like a dusty relic you only touch if you're feeling nostalgic. What used to be the definitive entry into the world of Midgar and the Shinra Corporation is now treated like a bonus feature if gamers indeed skip the original Final Fantasy VII. There's a bigger issue here than just personal preference. Telling gamers to skip the original undermines the entire history of gaming preservation. This isn't a simple remaster. The remake trilogy isn't a faithful recreation of the original. It's completely different beast. The pacing, the story structure, the tone, and even the message have changed. Square Enix transformed Final Fantasy VII from a tightly written story-driven adventure into a sprawling, cinematic, three-part reinterpretation that plays more like an action game than an RPG. Yes, even this article says it's not the same thing. And a lot of normies that are trying to get into Final Fantasy VII, I would tell them first to play the original. They look at the gameplay and they say, this looks outdated. I don't want to play this, kind of deal. Why can't I just play the remake? Because the remake is a completely different story. It's a completely different entity of the original. If you want to give it an actual HD remaster treatment for the original, you get it on Steam and you could mod it. I have a modded version of it, and it looks nice. The polygon HD textures are remade. You have now, if you want, you could do the chibi versions of them, or you can make them look like the animated versions on the cover from the original Final Fantasy. It's called Seven Heaven, and it's voice acted. So you got actually nice voice acting with it. If you don't want to read the whole thing, you have that too. Even the battle system changed where it's a little bit more fast-paced, so it's not like slower for newcomers. Like a lot of this can be made, and fans are doing that. That's why they're modding the game, make it a better experience. Because Square doesn't want to remaster the original Final Fantasy VII. You could tell this just by the director for the remake telling you this. So when Hamaguchi said to play the remake first, he's not telling new players to experience Final Fantasy VII. He's telling them to experience Square Enix's modern reinterpretation of it. That's like telling someone to skip the original Star Wars trilogy and just watch Disney plus The Acolyte. Okay, that's an extreme example, but still, I can see that, yeah. Acolyte is complete dog shit, and the original Star Wars is one of the best movies of all time. That trilogy, the originals, a generational movie. It's literally the same thing. Here's another interpretation of it. What if Disney remade the original 3 Star Wars movies? What if they remade those today? They redid it, but they put their own spin on it, because everyone has to put their own spin on it to make it their own. They don't want to copy and paste anything. People remember that remake, right? And they want to forget about the classic George Lucas Star Wars. It's like that. Let's erase everything George Lucas did, and let's create our own version of Star Wars now with these remakes, you know? And it gets to the point where it's going to start getting harder to find the original movies, and then it'll just be erased from existence, which would be impossible because everyone grew up watching Star Wars. Doesn't matter if you watched the original trilogy or the prequels, everyone appreciated Star Wars for what it was, and it's part of a pulp culture icon, Star Wars, during that time. It was invincible. It's one of those goes down from generations to generation, you know, kind of deal. But the newer Disney Star Wars, that has no impact. That has no quality to it. It's just quantity of content. It's literally just content. You know Disney's going to make a remake one of these days of the original trilogy. You know it. When they have no ideas left, they're going to remake the original trilogy. I bet you they're going to do that. And there is no point to remake those at all because they're just going to change it for modern audiences like they always do. Let's be clear, the original Final Fantasy VII still holds up. Sure, it's blocky, and yes, the camera angles and menu systems scream 1990s, but it also delivers something today's cinematic titles rarely do: player imagination. The old game let players fill in the blanks. The low poly art and text boxes created room for your mind to shape the story. The remake, for all its visual beauty, leaves nothing to imagination. Every emotion rendered, every mystery spoon-fed. Hamaguchi's start with the remake line might sound harmless, but to longtime fans, it's another signal that Square Enix is more interested in marketing a product than preserving an art form. This whole debate highlights the larger identity crisis at Square Enix. The company that once prioritized storytelling and innovation is now chasing modern trends, flashy visuals, extended DLC, and multi-game cinematic experiences. It's the same issue haunting over major franchises like Halo, Mass Effect, Star Wars. Take your pick. Creative teams that think they can reinvent legacy titles without respecting what made them beloved in the first place. Square Enix wants to have it both ways. Cash in on nostalgia, while insisting the past doesn't matter. But when you tell fans to skip the original Final Fantasy VII, you're not just rewriting history, you're erasing it. That is very true. Remember, if you guys watched the sequel, Star Wars, remember what Adam Driver and Kylo Ren said? Ben Solo, let the past die, burn it if you need to. Remember he said something, it was something like that in that aspect. I only watched the sequel, the 3 movies, the sequels of Star Wars only once. But he said, let the past die, let it burn. When he said that, that made an impact on me that I know where Star Wars is going when they say this, because that is actually disgusting if you think about it. They're telling you you don't need to respect where this stuff came from and just consume content. That's literally all it is now. It doesn't have substance anymore. Maybe Hamaguchi generally believes the remake is a better entry point. Maybe he's just following Square Enix PR script. But the result is the same. A subtitle message to a new generation that the original masterpiece doesn't matter. That's not fresh, that's a revisionist. So if you're new to Final Fantasy VII, do yourself a favor. Start where it all began in 1997. No DLC, no mid-game reboots, no corporate polish, just pure pixelated brilliance. Don't skip the original Final Fantasy VII. Then by all means, play the remake trilogy if you want, but don't let anyone tell you to skip history. And I couldn't say it better myself. What a banger article. Great article by Geeks and Gamers. Definitely shout out to them. I've been saying this for a while. I don't know what's going on with going back, nostalgia baiting people. with these remakes and then actually altering it and pissing off the fan base. Or you split the fan base, which is probably even worse, to be honest, than pissing off the fan base. Let's be honest, you got to remember the original. He should have said this. Yes, you should play the originals for sure, because that's how I made these games, and that's where I got my ideas to make the remake. After you've done that, I would like it if you could play the remakes for after that, because the remakes are my own revision of the story, retold in my own way. So it's changed up for other people to make it more fresh. And if he wanted to be pretty based, he should have said, well, I hope Square does an HD remaster of the game so people can experience the original once again back as they remembered. But he didn't. So he just said, yeah, just play the remakes. But what do you guys think overall about this whole thing? Let me know in the comments below. I thank you so much for watching this long. And if you didn't like this video, I still thank you so much for watching this long. Until the next time, guys, have a good one all, and I'll see you soon.